Hey there, kiddos. Welcome to another video on 6th grade math. This one's going to focus on integers and absolute value. With me, Miss Musgrove. So to start things off, let's tackle that word integers. What are integers? Well, integers basically cover three areas. They can be positive whole numbers, they can be negative whole numbers, and it includes the number 0, which is not positive or negative. And we need to remember that positive numbers are typically associated with what looks like a plus sign. Negative numbers are generally associated with a minus sign. So one of the main things that you're going to have to do as 6th graders is order integers, and you will be given sets of integers like I have in red here, and you'll have to put them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, depending on what the questions ask. And you also probably will have to plot these integers on number lines. So you need to know how number line works. You can see the one I have on the bottom. We have 0 in the middle here. And positive numbers count up from 0, moving to the right. And negative numbers count down from 0, going to the left. And we'll talk more about the number line here in a minute. But I've got a set of numbers here, and I'm going to put these numbers in order from least to greatest and greatest to least. So negative numbers are actually smaller in value, and positive numbers are higher in value the higher up they get. So looking at these numbers, the least number in the set, it would be -4. So if I'm putting them in order from least to greatest, that's actually the smallest number, because the larger the digit of a negative number appears, it's actually smaller in value. So -4 is smallest here, followed by -2, -1, 0 is kind of neutral. It's right there in the middle of that transition from positive to negative numbers on a number line. So the next one up would be 1, and then 3. So that would be in order from least to greatest. And obviously if I wanted to put these from greatest to least, it would be the reverse of that. 3 would be the greatest number, followed by 1, 0, -1, -2, and -4. So there you go. That's putting numbers in order, either least to greatest or greatest to least. All right, so the next major topic I want to talk about is absolute value, abbreviated AV sometimes. So absolute value of a number is the distance that number is from 0 when you're thinking about a number line. And distance can't be negative. So the absolute value of any number that you take, even if itself is a negative number, the absolute value is always going to be positive. So let me show you what I mean by that when distance can't be negative. Let's say we have this guy standing in his yard, and he wants to walk over to this tree. Okay, if he was at 0, he had to go 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, to get to that tree. So he moved 3 steps. Yes, in terms of direction, it was at a +3 on this number line, but he still moved 3 steps to get there. Now let's say he needed to go backwards and go the other way to get to the mailbox, okay, which is located at -2 on the number line from his original position. So he still, even though the mailbox was in a negative direction from where he was standing, he still moved 2 steps to get there. So absolute value is a distance value. And if you're going on a number line from a number to a negative number, okay, you're still moving a positive distance from that 0. If you're going from 0 to a positive number, you're still moving a positive distance. So main takeaway, when you're finding absolute values of numbers, you're always going to get what is a positive answer. So along with absolute value comes opposites. And numbers are opposites for a reason, and it's related to absolute value of those numbers. So say we have two opposite numbers, 4 and -4. So when you're asked to find the absolute value of a number, absolute value has its own special brackets. So whenever you see these straight up and down bars or brackets, okay, that's asking you to find the absolute value of those numbers, to find how far that number inside the brackets is from 0. So if I'm looking at 4 here, okay, 4 is located here on a number line. Well, how far away is 4 from 0? Well, it's 4 spaces, so the absolute value of 4 is 4. Now looking at negative 4, okay, I'm going from 0 to negative 4, so it's the other direction. It is also 4 spaces away from 0. So what makes 4 and negative 4 opposites of one another is that they're the same distance from 0 as each other, but on opposite sides of 0 when looking at a number line. So that's what makes for opposites. So let's try a few of these to see if you've got absolute value. So again, these brackets are asking me to find the absolute value of what is inside those brackets. So let's start with the absolute value of negative 3. Ask myself, how far on a number line is negative 3 from 0? Well, the answer to that is 3 spaces. The absolute value of 5 is 5 spaces from 0. Okay, and then the absolute value of 0, trick question, okay, it's 0. 0 can't be any distance from itself. It is itself. So the absolute value of 0 would be 0. So let's take it one step further and combine what we know about absolute value with PEMDAS. You've heard about PEMDAS, it's order of operations. So absolute value brackets kind of work like parentheses. So let's say you see a problem that's combining absolute value with addition in the middle. Well, you would have to find the absolute value portion first, just as if you were following PEMDAS and you do parentheses, okay, before you add. You would do that with absolute value. So you would want to find the absolute value of both negative 2 and negative 3, and then add those values together. So how far away is negative 2 from 0? Well, it's 2 spaces. How far is negative 3 from 0? 3 spaces. So my last step following order of operations would be to add those together. So the final answer here would be 5. What's the absolute value of negative 2 plus the absolute value of negative 3? The final answer is 5. Alright, so let's wrap up and recap. We covered integers, which are positive and negative whole numbers, and the number 0. We put them in order from greatest to least, or least to greatest. And we plotted them on number lines. We know that negative numbers are actually smaller as they increase, and positive numbers get greater as they increase. We also learned about absolute value, which is a distance value, and it's how far a number is from 0 on a number line. And we learned that distance can never be negative in its value. So absolute value then can't be negative on how far a number is from 0. Hope this helps to kind of wrap up integers and absolute value. Stay tuned for some more 6th grade math videos. Until then, be cool.